there, and welcome to more Saturn Gems, my series looking at different gems on the Sega Saturn. Some from the West, some from Japan, some cheap, some expensive, some hidden, some well known. A little bit of everything there for everyone. Right, let's get cracking straight away. The first one is a corker, but it's pretty well known. It's Sonic Jam. Now, Sonic Jam is a collection of Sonic 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles for the Sega Saturn. The games themselves are in there in its entirety, and Sonic and Knuckles can be applied to Sonic 1, 2 and 3. So like in the original games, applying Sonic and Knuckles to each one gives you different things. So you can play as Knuckles, you have extra levels, extra bonus stages, all the standard stuff from the Mega Drive stay intact. In addition to that, it also adds in different difficulty modes, which is nice. So for example, on easy difficulty, the stages are simplified, and you also play one act from every zone. So if you want to just go through the game quickly in 5-10 minutes, you can pop on easy mode and just go straight through. It's especially good on Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which are quite long games. So if you want a quick Sonic fix, it's a real good option. In addition to that, you also have time trials. Time trials store your top 3 times for every act, and it really is addictive. If you've checked out the other videos on my channel, you'll probably notice quite a few time trial videos on there. I didn't think I would be that into them at first, but after doing a few of them, I got addicted pretty quickly. In addition to that, and what you're seeing on the video, is a little bonus thing called the Sonic World. Sonic World is like a small 3D playground with different things, goalposts, tails, rings, jump springs, things like that. And you have a platform that grants you different objectives. Starts out pretty basic, collects a certain number of rings, touch a certain number of goalposts, and then later on you have some different things like touch tails, for example. It stores your best times, although if you get over, I think it's over a minute, then you haven't passed the mission. So some of the later ones, where you have to collect 100 rings for example, it can be quite tough to do within the time limit, and if you manage to complete them all, you get a nice little bonus. I'm not going to spoil the bonus for you, but to be honest, it's quite disappointing. But either way, I mean, the Sonic World is quite a fun little diversion, so it's definitely worth dipping into. Now, the next game on my list is Sky Target. This is sort of hidden in that I never really knew about it before I bought it, but you may be familiar with what it's a successor to. If you've ever played the Afterburner games, this is a spiritual successor to that, and it plays like Afterburner mixed with a bit of, Island Wars or Panzer Dragoon, those kind of rail shooters, and it's really good fun. Don't be put off by the box art, which is quite frankly atrocious. It's actually a nice fun little game. It's pretty cheap as well. You can pick it up for 10 quid, so it's a nice game to play. But as I say, it's a rail shooter, and you control a jet fighter like in Afterburner. Shoot loads of jets down, submarines, you've got big aircraft carriers, things like that. What makes it quite interesting is that it has a branching paths system, so after you've completed a level, you can choose to go to one place or another. You could continue in the sky, or you could go down to the jungle. It's entirely up to you, and it adds a certain element of replayability. In addition to that, there are certain rankings which can unlock you more jet fighters and things like that. So it does have things in there to keep you interested. For the budget price that it goes for, I would say it's definitely worth picking up. Next game on my list is a bit of a controversial one, in that a lot of people aren't too keen on it, but for me, it really is a true gem, and that's Enemy Zero for the Sega Saturn. It's 4 discs Although Disc 0 is actually a tutorial where you play an interactive virtual environment thing, and all it really does is just tell you how to use the gun, more or less. It's extremely useful to do before you play because the combat in this game is very difficult. The whole premise is that it's a first-person survival horror, and you're on your ship and you're being hunted by these alien creatures that are on your ship. Now these alien creatures are invisible, so you can't see them, you can't hear them, they're completely oblivious to all your senses. In addition to that, they kill you instantly. So needless to say, these are enemies that you either need to avoid or you need to kill. How do you kill them? You have a little electronic charging gun thing. Now it takes a few seconds to charge, but if you hit them with that charge, you kill them instantly. The problem, as I say, it takes a little bit of charge, but also you need to be very, very close, more or less next to the enemy, which is quite difficult when they're invisible. So, how do you tell where they are? You have like a little chip which senses them, and that's implanted into your ear, and it makes a beeping noise. As the beeping gets faster, you know the enemy is getting closer, and there's also a different frequency as to whether they're in front of you, to the left, to the right, or behind. All in all, it's a great combat system, but it's extremely stressful. To add to the stress, your device that saves and loads the game runs on a battery. Every time you save or every time you load, it uses battery. So as you get further through the game, you'll find this battery is getting lower and lower. So you end up thinking, okay, do I save here to be safe, or do I try and risk it? It's, as I say, it's very stressful, but it's good. It's a horror game, so it's designed to make you stress, it's designed to make you panic, and it works a treat. The game itself has two main kind of gameplay styles. You have an adventure style mode, which works kind of like a point and click adventure for when you're in a room, and when you're in larger spaces, it controls like a first person horror game. It's an interesting game, and the prices are getting higher and higher, so it's definitely one I would recommend picking up sooner rather than later. It also supports the 3D control pad, so if you have one of those, it will be easier to control. Me, I'm using the 2D control pad, which for me is fine. I never have any issues with it. Probably going to set you back, I think it's around 80 quid now, so it's, as I say, it's getting higher in price as the years go on, so if it looks like it'll interest you, I'd recommend picking it up. It seems very much like a precursor to something like Alien Isolation, so if you've ever played Alien Isolation and you like that, chances are you'll probably like this too. Moving on to the next game, and we have a Japanese game, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story. Now the footage you're seeing is from Side Story 1, but there are actually 3 parts. There's Side Story 1, Side Story 2, and Side Story 3, surprisingly enough. These are mech games. Now, the mech genre isn't one that I particularly like. Like as I mentioned last time with RPGs, you know, mech games are not my bag. So, really, I didn't think I would like this. But it's very cheap, and the gameplay video that I saw did look quite interesting. So I thought, you know what, I'll buy it, I'll risk it, let's see what it's all about. I played it and it really is good. Unlike most mech games where you feel quite clunky and slow and everything takes a while to do or to move, everything kind of works a lot smoothly here. You use the D-pad to move forward, back and sidestep, and then you use the triggers to look left and look right. You have a lock on, you have missiles, you have bullets, things like that. You need to do different objectives. For example, on the video you're seeing, it's the first mission which is just kill a bunch of guys, but you might be protecting things or, you know, doing various different objectives. You know, it's quite a fun little game. The good thing is really cheap. Japanese gamers like the Gundam series, so I think they must have made many copies. You can pick up each one for about a £5, so you can probably pick up all 3 for maybe 15-20 quid, you know, which really is nothing, you know, for a Sega Saturn game. So if it seems vaguely interesting to you, I'd recommend giving it a shot. I was surprised because I don't like the genre, but it's a nice one to play. Now, the final game on the list is very special to me because not only is it a series that I love, this game is probably my favourite game on the Sega Saturn, and that's Shinobi X. Shinobi X is a side-scrolling action platformer, and it's very similar to, you know, the Mega Drive Shinobi games, if you've ever played those. You've got your double jump, you've got your shurikens or kunai or whatever they are. You go around, you kill ninjas, you go to different places, you feel pretty badass. This one works a little bit differently because it focuses more on the sword rather than the kunai. So you've got a sword which can deflect enemy attacks, you can do spin attacks with it, you can use it like a pogo stick like in DuckTales, or you can just use it like a normal sword. It's pretty versatile and it really adds something to the series. It kind of changes the gameplay style, you know, from before, because you know you would usually rely on your shuriken or kunai in the previous games. But yeah, it's definitely good. They also use digitized graphics, which if you've ever played the old Mortal Kombat games, it's where they get real actors and they use the technology, the computer technology to map the actual real people in. So you have these characters, the ninjas, and you know the main character himself are both real digitized actors. But everything moves really smoothly. The animation, the movement, and everything is as smooth as, you know, if it was computer generated or, you know, sprites, things like that. So it never really causes an issue, and it gives the game a nice little charm to it. Especially like when you're using your sword against a ninja, if you slash them, then the top part of their body will actually cut in half and then slide off the bottom half. It's a really neat effect, and it's pretty good. Like with any Shinobi game, you've got different locations. You go from typical Japanese locations to treetops, labs, mines, and the one you're seeing is like a jungle area with snakes and everything. You know, so you've got quite a variety of different landscapes, variety of different bosses to fight. It really is a fun game to play. On top of that, you've got a bunch of FMVs, which some people don't like, but for me, I love. It just screams 90s. If you've ever seen the Japanese Power Rangers, it's basically that. You've got these terrible actors. You've got these terrible costumes that come from a shoestring budget. You've got a really cheesy and nonsensical story. It's just something else. I mean, even if you have no interest in the game, just watch the cutscenes. It really is amazing to watch. The game itself probably will cost you maybe about 90 quid. Again, like with Enemy Zero, it's going up in price as the years go on. However, I would also say that you can probably pick up the Japanese version for a fair bit cheaper, and apart from the subtitles on the cutscenes, you probably don't need English for anything else. It's pretty much be a ninja, do ninja things, kill everything. That's the general gist of it. You really do not need to you really do not need the English for this. So I would say pick it up however you can, especially if you're fans of the Shinobi series. Right, so that's my 5 games. We had Sonic Jam, Sky Target, Mobile Suit Gundam Side Story, Enemy Zero, and my favourite, Shinobi X. Shinobi X and Enemy Zero are pricier titles. I would say, especially with Enemy Zero, do buy them, and if you have the money or if you have interest in them. But the other three are pretty cheap. I didn't mention the price for Sonic Jam, but that goes for probably about 20 quid, which is worth it if you're a fan of the series. I said 20 quid and you can pick up all the Gundam games, the side story Gundam games, and Sky Target's probably like a tenner. So those three are definite pickups, I'd say. Right, if you've played any of these games, drop me a comment below with what your opinion is, or if you have any more suggestions for future videos, again, let me know. Okay, until next time, bye bye.